by abolition. Thus, it is not only a question of challenging those external phenomena that represent racist and sexist structures of violence, but rather the ideas and emotions that we exhibit, which are responsible for the reproduction of these structures. And so finally, let me say that whenever we reflect seriously on prisons, we should begin with the insight that prisons have not always been among us, and that they can be abolished in the future. Likewise, there have not always been armed forces patrolling and policing human communities. We can discover new, more effective solutions to the problem of security than armed human beings. And so it is from this abolitionist vantage point that we judge the solutions offered by those who are troubled by the resources that are being devoured by the process of mass incarceration. We cannot simply call for reform of the police, in the same way that we cannot simply call for the reform of jails and prisons. We cannot simply settle for the end of mass incarceration. We want an end to incarceration, period. We cannot say that we want to reserve prisons and the death penalty for the worst of the worst. We cannot say that those who have committed horrible acts of violence deserve to be in prison. Because we want to understand why this happens. And we want people who commit horrible acts to be brought into programs that help us figure out how to banish the possibility of such harm from our communities. Because when they are sentenced to prison, we forget about them. We forget about their problems. And we want to envision new forms of justice, justice that is not retributive, justice that does not reproduce harm and violence, but justice that helps us build a more compassionate, less violent society. We want an end to policing as we know it. We want an end to incarceration as we know it. We want a world that has no need to rely on policing and imprisonment. A world with free education and free health care and mental health care and affordable housing. A world whose guiding principles are socialist. A world that values Black lives. And thus also all lives. Thank you.